Alright, in this video, let's incorporate the song's title into our composition. Right now we've got a variety of different images for our imagery layer. To make things a little bit easier to select and move things around, I'm going to select all of my layers and let's put them inside of a folder. This grouped folder is going to be called the imagery, and everything else that I create can be on top of this, which will be the text or the type. Let's grab our type tool. Now, when you incorporate type into a design, the font that you choose can be just as important as the imagery that you use. You want to find a font that matches the tone and feel that you're going for the vibe of your overall composition. If I had to describe the vibe of this song, it has kind of a classical feel to it. It's not a traditional rock and roll song. It's certainly not a heavy song. It has a light kind of feel to it. So I do want to use a font that's a little bit more traditional, not a sans serif font. It's maybe a scripted font, or maybe a type of traditional serif font would work really, really well. For your composition, especially if it's a more heavier font or a heavier sound, you may want to incorporate something that's closer to heavy metal or something that's really bold. Or if you've got a really light and airy thing, maybe you want something that's a thin serifed font. The feel of your font needs to match the feel and vibe of your composition. For me, I'm going to go for more of a traditional type serif. Let's see, I found Athens, which comes in a variety of different samples and sizes. I'm going to try italic. Now, for me, I like to type out everything word for word, which means I'm going to type in one layer, which is going to be another. This means I can choose this word and I can move it around wherever I want. For you, you may want to incorporate the entire thing into one line or one paragraph. This simply gives me the most flexibility. Notice that when I type this, I need to open up my control panel and take off all caps. So there's another. I'll make a copy of this one. Oops, choose my move tool and hold down Option. We'll do this way. I'm going to do fire. Another in the fire. Finally, if I wanted to emphasize one of the words, I could choose it to be more bold and then perhaps make fire nice and big as well too. Now I need to think about how this can be fit into my composition. I've got such great imagery, nice and in the middle of my design. Oops, turn it back on. That I really don't want to cover up the hands or the person. I don't have a lot of space up here at the top, but I do have an open area right under here under her neck. This means that I could potentially incorporate something down here that's a little bit more out of the way. Your text doesn't have to be bold and in the center and to be the primary part of your composition. Feel free to play around with the placement of it, but it doesn't have to be the strongest portion of it. For me, let's see if I can make another in the fire fit down here. Another in the, and then we'll have fire down here. Again, playing around with the size and scaling of things means I can make this a little bit smaller. Let's do another fitting on top of here. Let's have fire moved up a bit. Finally, I can choose some colors that also match this as well too. Going back down, let's see if I can find my color swatches. Whoops, let's turn on my pictures. Turn off all the others. And maybe for my text colors, I've got my text layers selected. I can now choose my color swatch. I can pick up some of these other colors by clicking on this one as well too. I like the look of that one. Let's see how well it incorporates into my imagery. Not too good, not too bad. I can play around, yes, the blending modes start to blend in really well once I add color to it too. I kind of like the subtlety of how that looks. I'm losing readability on fire. Maybe I can change just that one to be a little bit more opaque. Finally, if I do need it to stand out a little bit more, I can use a layer style such as a drop shadow. But again, I want it to be just subtle enough so I can read the outline without it actually taking over. And I'm going to apply my drop shadow to some other layers too. And there we have my composition. It incorporated all the different elements. It has 2 pictures that I needed, that I gave to you, as well as now the text in my design. Let's have a look at the first picture that I did for Heavy as the Crown. Heavy as the Crown is a very hardcore, hard rock type imagery. So I wanted something that also had fire to it, but was screaming, and it was bold, and it was loud, and also felt like that as well too. So I found pictures of crowns, found pictures of fire. For the birds that I gave you, I incorporated those in the background. I clipped out just a person screaming or the mouth of a person. And for the text, I had a heavy, bold text, and it's down and out of the way as well too. So the imagery that I have here, check out all the different layers and how things were layered up and placed within it. Your Photoshop composition should have a lot of layers. It should be blending the layers that use a variety of different blending modes, as well as incorporating different kinds of layer mask or masking techniques to be able to isolate the picture that you want. Finally, don't be afraid to use your adjustment layers to adjust the colors, the tones, even the brightness and contrast of things so that things would stand out. Lastly, think about color in your composition. In this case, there is no one overall tone. I simply tried to adjust the tones of individual pictures until I got the look and feel that I liked. The final thing that you need to do is to save each of your compositions first as a Photoshop file, but then you're going to upload a JPEG of your design. Now you don't need to flatten any of your layers. You can simply go to File and do Save a Copy, and then finally choose your format to be JPEG. This JPEG will automatically lock down all of your layers and flatten it into one single composition. We'll hit Save. You can keep it a high quality image and say OK to that. Save each of your songs as its own individual JPEG, and remember, you're making 2 different compositions.